Welcome to Scotty Wandering. If you're new to the channel, this channel is normally dedicated to traveling the parks of Wisconsin. But in this multi-part series, come along on the journey of a daddy-daughter trip out to Utah from Wisconsin. We'll see the adventures along the way, and you'll see what happens to our trip and how we adapt. Not everything always goes the way you plan. Come enjoy the journey with us, and let's get out there. Well, guess where we are? That's Goblin Valley. Let's go look around.
Thinks there is, so like this is confusing to me.
Where do I go? So while the park, this Goblin Valley is a state park. Well, the park has its campground and has a few trails, mountain bike trails, foot trails. I think there's even some four-wheel drive trails. The valley here has no trail. You are free to explore and wander and try to get lost. Just, you know, you'll usually be able to find the shelter again to make your way home, but it's an unusual amount of freedom. The only rule is don't get destructive with the rock formations. It's kind of nice to be able to wander around in a park today without having to worrying about social distancing on the trail. Dive! Dead end?
Can I? No.
Can you go over the top? You can go this way.
You're wrong, Dad. They're all wrong.
Got a wash running through here. Looks like it's wet. Totally dry? Rock hard. Arches this morning after having our final hike last night up to Delicate Arch. Set off first thing this morning, headed north out of Moab, hit I-70, took a left, went over the Green River, went until you get to Highway 24, State Highway 24, head south. It's also the same road that'll take you down to Capitol Reef, where we'll be heading next, and even Lake Powell, I believe. There's nothing out here. There are no roads anywhere or any towns or anything like that anywhere near here. So this is designated as a dark sky park. This is a place you can come at night and see the Milky Way like nowhere else. Right now you can probably see the meteor shower and come out and try to take some beautiful, you know, starry night sky photos with the goblins in the foreground. You can kind of light them up to do that. It's just an interesting place to come and explore. Now, when you hop off of 24, you see a sign saying Goblin Valley, you think, oh, we're here. Not so quick. You probably still got about 14 miles in before you get to Goblin Valley State Park. There is a campground here. It's small. I'll post a link to my video of the campground. And so if you want to come here and view this place at night, there is a place to stay. Moving on. One thing's for sure, you will never stop and photograph the same rock at the same angle that someone else did in the same light. They all look different. Oh, where'd he come from? And once you think you've kind of run to the edge of the valley, kind of go through a crevasse. and see what more there is hiding out here. Let's see what we find. Yep, plenty more. Alright, I am in Hanksville on 24, and I don't know what the other intersection was. Stopped here between Goblin Valley and Capitol Reef. Apparently, this is off that way, and you can get to Lake Powell because everything here is about Lake Powell. But while I'm here, there is Wi-Fi, or there is cell service here. We just had a great meal at the Outlaws Roost over here, were burritos, and we had rice bowls. Love those. Great options there. And our gas station here is literally inside the hill here. And that's where we just picked up some ice. Now what's really bizarre is you're sitting out here in the middle of the desert and there's all these houseboats just sitting out here. But stop here, get yourself a burrito, gas up because who knows how long it's going to be, and get some ice. We are entering Capitol Reef. We got the river on our right that we'll be following in a good chunk of the way, providing us some greenery. So the sign says family that built this only stayed a year before they kind of got flooded out of this valley and moved further upstream. They had 13 kids. It isn't clear if they had 13 kids when they were living in here or if that came later after they moved upstream. That's a pretty small cabin. Along the path here, we run across the one-room schoolhouse, which doubles as church, meeting house, everything. Was the only public structure in the area. Amazingly, some of those classes are, all grade classes, seem smaller than some of the families in the area. However, over here we have a rock that I would say would be the equivalent of permanently signing your yearbook. Well, we made it into Capitol Reef. We made it to our campsite in Fruita Campground, right along the Fremont River here, and that was what I focused on. I wanted to get a site right along the river. There's a spot under that big beautiful tree where you can dip your feet in and chill out really nicely. My biggest mistake was I didn't pick a spot in the shade. And there is a lot of wonderful shady spots in this campground, just not right here on the end by the river. We already saw a deer over in the orchards, and we already went over to the Guilford house back there and got our pie. Definitely, you have to get a pie. Tomorrow morning, we'll get our cinnamon roll. When we stopped in at the visitor center, we asked them, well, do you recommend a good hike for midday? And they kind of sat there scratching their heads, looked at the thermometer and went, it's 95 degrees. No, go later. So we're chilling by the river. We'll go into the take a hike a little bit later. Now there are several hikes that we can take right from here. There's one that actually follows the river and goes up. It's got some elevation change according to the sign. There's others that are going up some bluffs. I think we're going to head out to one of the washes and try one of those trails. So we just drove from the campground to the Grand Wash, the parking area, trailhead. This is an area where the water definitely flows. Lots of warning signs. Do not come down here if there's any threat of rain. You probably won't get out of the parking area, let alone the fact that we're walking along the wash is not safe. But we're going to walk down a little bit and catch the Cassidy Arch trail and go check out Cassidy Arch. Go ahead. Show me where the trail goes. Hard to tell where it's gonna go. As much as you wouldn't want to be here in the rain, down there, it's got to be a phenomenal waterfall when it's raining. So our van's down there. Initially, you go around the bend and you climb up to basically this line and follow that line around up to where we are. So the initial climb is on the far side, and then you're sort of following the ridge line. Apparently I did my pan too soon. Come around, and there's the arch. So this is Cassidy Arch. Once you get up here, you can kind of walk around the outer edge and actually get out there on top of the arch. So, see the arch over there? Someone's standing on it right now. Well, this one was standing in that spot, and the arch is wider than you think from here, and there's another lower level. She jumped off and made it look like she just disappeared off the edge. It's a little scary. Alright, now I'm pretty much standing on top of the arch. You can't even tell you're on an arch when you're up here. Interesting, they have this anchor point up here. I don't know where you go, how you get back. That's a long ways down. And that's the road we took down to get to our trailhead. So Cassidy Arch is heading down in there. Go just a few more feet up the hill, and the view opens up. It's a all around view. Come around a little further, there's Capitol. So last night, as we were chasing daylight, we're not doing that quite here, we climbed in arches up to Delicate Arch, which is about 1.2 miles from the trailhead up. Crowded trail. We had about the same kind of climb here today, and we certainly didn't have any traffic. We had a couple people up here when we were here, but we weren't like congested on the trail or anything. But it's pretty much about the same kind of hike for an arch, and this one you actually get to get close to. The other one you had to wait in line to get your photo with. Want to say anything?
I like this one.
Alright. It's a little more quiet up here. So something else to note out here. So we climbed up this path. You can continue on the path. There's a spur off to the arch, but you can continue on the original path all the way to the campground. That's another 4 miles. So you could walk from the campground out here and back. That would be a significant hike. So another thing you can do, if you got one of those family members who doesn't want to hike and wants to sit around the campsite, well, they could drive you out to the entrance to the wash and let you hike it up and all the way back to the campground. And they'll just meet you back at the campground while they're sitting there eating pie. Make sure they save you some. Just found this amazing caverns to explore. But, you know, they're only that big, I can't get in there. See, it's me. Alright, this morning we are heading out of Capitol Reef and heading to Bryce Canyon. Just to let you know, just outside the park there is this little town that seems to have lots of little hotel rooms, possibly some restaurants. Well, maybe needing to check that out tonight on the way back. So there are services just outside the west side of Capitol Reef. Looks like we even have a gas station. That's handy to know. So we're in the Dixie National Forest now on Highway 12, and we got our traffic jam. Be aware, cattle do roam free out here. Bryce Canyon. Our first stop on the way in is going to be the trail for Mossy Cave. Let's see what that's like. It's only a 0.4 mile trail. This is one hike I think I would have preferred my water shoes over my hiking shoes. It's fairly easy, but then I could have been walking down the river up to the falls. Up a separate ravine from that waterfall is the Mossy Cave. The water, most of it actually comes seeping through the rocks. And in the winter, it's just filled with icicles. First stop on the rim of Bryce first stop on the rim of Bryce Canyon, where Sunrise Point is over there. We're just off to the left of that. This is near a lodge. And the first view of the canyon. Horse trail rides available. Alright, we've made it to Sunrise Point, right? Sunrise Point?
Sunrise.
Sunrise Point. Sunset Point isn't far away. But after several days of hiking, we decided our knees are saying no, not to going down, but to getting back up. There's some wonderful trails down there, but I don't think they're going to be for us, at least not today. I hope you can hear me over the wind. We scurried over to Bryce Point, which is the far end of the rim trail. And there are trails down below we could be walking if we want to get into it. But as far as viewpoints go, I think this one is the killer one, where you really can see the amphitheater here. Get a full view.
What?
Well, change of plans. While I was at Bryce, by the way, Bryce has good solid Wi-Fi or cell service, so I could check to see what was going on in the world, and I found out that I-80 right now is I-70 is closed in Glen Canyon, so I'm not going to risk heading back the way I came. So I'm at Bryce. My plan was to go back to Capitol Reef, then go back to Rifle again to spend the night, but that's out. I am going to head north out of Bryce, head up I-80, Salt Lake City, and head on over that way. So going out the other side of Bryce, on Highway 12, we go back through the Dixie National Forest and the Red Canyons, which I just am coming out of now. But if I had gone the other way, I wouldn't have seen those. Now we got vast vistas. The scenery changes by the second out here. Welcome to Iowa. Wait a minute. Iowa doesn't have mountains. Welcome to Idaho. Our plans made a change. Rather than head on up because of the forest fires, up 15 in Utah, turn right at Salt Lake City and head home, we figured if we're going to go that far north, we might as well take a little extra adventure. We have the time in our schedule, so the next video we're going to be on a new adventure. But the important thing I did just learn here is when we were traveling from Capitol Reef over to Bryce, we kind of just booked it over there because I wanted to make sure we got in what we wanted to do at Bryce Canyon, and then we would turn around, take our time going back, knowing how much time we had left, and make some stops along the way. Well, we never went back, so we never got to make those stops again, and probably somewhat similar in Colorado too, because we thought we'd be heading back that way again, so why not hit some of those things on the way back? Well, missed opportunities may have happened because we never went back. But we're trying something new. New opportunities are arising. So if you find this useful, if you find this interesting, please give it a thumbs up. if you find what I'm doing here and my campground tours and these other travels around the country and seeing sites, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us. It helps you see other videos, and we hope to see you out there.